Hello everybody, this is a video of my reflection after just spending some time thinking about what I just saw after the Nintendo Direct at E3. I know that after watching the Nintendo Direct, I got so many things wrong. With all that being said, let's get to my thoughts. So for Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee, unfortunately they didn't release new content regarding the core Pokemon RPG game that's gonna come out next year. And it's a bummer that they didn't really release any new thing regarding that. Maybe this Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee game is gonna provide a blueprint, maybe a preview of what we can expect from the next Pokemon game that is going to be announced next year. Probably the biggest takeaway from it was the fact that you get a Mew with the purchase of a Pokeball Plus. It's gonna have to make me break out my wallet here. Have to get out 50 bucks just to buy a new controller. It's making it really tempting. So for the new Mario Party game, thank God you're not in the same car, rolling the same die, but there's a zero now. I mean, I could already see it, all the posts and videos that people are gonna upload of how RNGesus hasn't blessed them in the way that they wanted to. The thing to get most excited about for sure is the ability to link up two switches. I don't know if that's a requirement for those particular type of games. For example, the one that they showed where they're fighting in the tanks. Do you need two switches for that one particular party game? Can you just make do with one? Who knows how that's gonna work out. Definitely the other thing is the playable characters. Like you could play as Diddy Kong and the Koopalings, I think I saw. You could play as Shy Guy, but probably the most important development was you can play as Goomba. You could play with his little wobbly feet and then he's riding this little bike. I don't know how he's handling the bike with no arms. Goomba just making it happen, I suppose. I mean, they do have another character in Boo who doesn't have any feet or legs. I guess they're trying to compensate that with a character with feet but no arms. Maybe they're just meant to be together. Goomba and Boo. Maybe that should be their new couple name. Goo or Boomba. Hashtag. It looks like I got one of my predictions right in my video where they announced a new Fire Emblem game. Fire Emblem Tree Houses. At least that's what I read it as initially, but no, it's gonna be 3 houses. Trace. There are some interesting new things about this game. The biggest one is probably when you move the characters to fight, you're not fighting one-on-one, you're actually fighting alongside an army, and you can change their formations to become more of like an offensive formation or like a defensive formation. Another interesting thing was, and I think they're building on what they used in Shadows of Valentia, the aspect of just walking around, of open world. Hopefully it's open world. Speaking of open world, I mean, I talked about it in my other video of incorporating open world in Pokemon, open world in Animal Crossing. Just put open world in every game and it's probably going to be game of the year. Because the name of the game is 3 houses, I assume that you're going to be faced with a choice of choosing one of the 3 houses. I know whose side I'm going to be on. My babe, Edgelord. Maybe it'll be like Fates where you have to choose one and stick with that through the rest of the game. That's going to be great because of the replay value. So you can play alongside all 3 houses. Unless of course they release it in 3 different versions like they did with Fire Emblem Fates with Birthright and Conquest, and then eventually a 3rd version in the DLC of Revelation. I can totally see them doing that as like a money grab, cash grab sort of tactics. Hopefully they don't do that. Please, Nintendo. Onegaishimasu. And by the way, this game is coming out spring 2019. I guess that finally gives me some time to play this game, which I didn't even open yet. I still have to finish Fire Emblem Fates Revelation. Ain't nobody got time to play this, Fire Emblem Heroes. There's too many Fire Emblem games. The next highlighted game was Octopath Traveler. It was especially highlighted because of the whole build-up to it. You gonna show us more content?
An important update on a game I know fans have been looking forward to.
Super Smash.
Octopath Traveler.
Okay, I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one who thought that. I'm not diminishing the game. It is a game that I have been excited about as well. I'm a huge fan of the HD 2D aesthetic that they're introducing in the game. and it looks super gorgeous, by the way. And the fact that it's made by the same developers of Bravely Default, it's also really cool that it's a Switch-only port. The concept itself is really cool as well, where you can play as 8 different travelers, each having their own unique skill. There's probably going to be some strategy in the game where you're gonna have to work together in order to progress further into the game. I should be playing the new demo that came out recently as soon as the Nintendo Direct was announced. So many games, just so little time. Speaking of so many games, they announced so many games throughout this whole Nintendo Direct. They probably announced like 30 different games in this one Direct alone. The thing about it is that it gave no time to react and really just stew on the different games that were announced. It was just like boom, boom, boom. This game, then that game, then that game. There were some noteworthy games. They announced all these different games like Mega Man 11, Wolfenstein 2, Monster Hunter Generations Ultimate, FIFA 19, which I'm still pretty pissed about that they didn't announce Madden 19 for Switch. Just all these games coming back and forth out of the wazoo. Now let's get to the whole meat of the Nintendo Direct. I mean, it was like 80% of the whole presentation anyway, and that is Super Smash. As soon as Sakurai came out, you know that he was gonna bring the hype. He was gonna come out with a cure for cancer and AIDS and Super Smash along with it. That's how much hype Sakurai brings. Him and Shigeru Miyamoto are the hype conductors of the hype train. That's how hype they are. I know I'm saying hype like 100 times. That's how hype they are. Like, they show this montage of all these characters appearing one by one. We've seen these characters before, and then I realized, oh, revelation, discovery in the moment, realization. This is the selling point of the game that's coming out. Smash Ultimate. So thank God it won't be a copy of the Wii U game for the Switch. It's just gonna be a new standalone game. But when seeing the gameplay, graphics-wise, it doesn't really seem to be that big of a difference. I'm nitpicking, but it was a bummer to see returning characters like Pichu with his stupid, dumb, self-damaging quirk. Furthermore, Zelda's design should have been in the Breath of the Wild style. I know that they prefaced it by saying the Breath of the Wild Zelda was more into research and not combat, but still, how are you going to neglect best Zelda? Give it to us, Nintendo. What was also kind of a buzzkill was essentially Waluigi and Bomberman and other characters like that being deconfirmed as they were announced as assist trophies. Here are some of the best parts of the announcement. Just step back and just see how awesome it is to play as every single character that has come out for Smash. But the question that seems to arise is how they're going to differentiate between Toon Link and Young Link and Adult Link. I know that they introduced the concept of Echo Fighters, Lucina for Marth, Daisy for Peach. So the question then becomes, is Toon Link an Echo Fighter of Young Link? Is Young Link an Echo Fighter of Toon Link? Or are they just both Echo Fighters of Adult Link? Another cool thing that they announced was the new fighting mechanics they introduced in the game. The biggest one was the directional air dodge. That's going to be a huge game changer considering the stage recovery or getting back on stage. That's going to be really interesting to see how people use that. And also when you're flying, you know, from the air and then someone's trying to up smash you, and it's going to be really cool to see people use that directional air dodge to get out of the way. Also, the excessive dodging getting nerfed. It's going to give that person an incentive not to do it all willy-nilly throughout the game every time now. And finally, probably the biggest reveal of this Nintendo Direct. Fittingly, it comes at the end of it. Man, I remember looking at all the forums before every Smash was going to be revealed, from I think it was even Melee to Brawl to Smash 4. Everyone's wish list was Ridley. He was probably the top 3 most requested characters. It was like him, King K. Rool, and KK Slider. And every time Nintendo just seemed to troll its fans by putting him as a boss in the Subspace Emissary in Brawl or a stage boss in Smash 4. This just shows Nintendo finally listen to its fans. This was pretty much Nintendo's middle finger to all of its fans, saying, here you go, just get off our backs now, leave us alone. He does look abnormally huge though from looking at the gameplay footage. I wonder if this makes him the biggest fighter in all of Smash. From the top of my head, the biggest fighters are probably Ridley now, and Bowser, and Charizard. Are there any other characters that are as big as Ridley? Hopefully this isn't the end of characters that are announced, although it may be very likely that is. The reason being is that there are a total of now 66 fighters that have been announced for this game. That's a lot of fighters. Way too many fighters. The rumor is, according to some articles online, is that there are about a half dozen characters still yet to be announced. And so if we're going to take that literally at face value, that means 6 more characters to be announced, making the total number 72. Wow, that's so many fighters. Maybe they should just release 3 more to make it 69. That does it for all my reactions to the Nintendo Direct at E3, at least the most notable ones anyway. If you watched my video earlier of me highlighting the expectations that I have for this E3 announcement, you could see I was pretty wrong in a lot of things. You can see that there were no announcements regarding Metroid 4, a new Animal Crossing game, and the new Pokemon RPG game. So Metroid 4 and the new Pokemon RPG game are guaranteed as they have been announced, so I'm not too worried about that. What's concerning is the lack of announcement for a new Animal Crossing game for Switch. They have to be releasing a new Animal Crossing game, right? Overall, I think Nintendo showed up pretty strong at E3. Maybe I'm just a biased Nintendo fan. I'm sure Microsoft and Sony are releasing a ton of new awesome games. Some games that caught my eye, of course, Kingdom Hearts 3 and Cyberpunk 2077. Those are games I'm super interested in, assuming I don't buy an Xbox One or a PS4 anytime soon. But one thing that can't be disputed is I truly believe that Nintendo's E3 presser would have been so much greater if they just waited to release the Pokemon Let's Go Pikachu and Eevee game in their Nintendo Direct. Like, could you imagine the praise that they would have gotten if they just waited and released not only Smash Ultimate and not only Super Mario Party, but Pokemon Let's Go, Eevee, and Pikachu at the very end? It would have been bananas, which is a huge bummer. As you know, I'm a huge Nintendo fan, and I just really want what's best for them. Hashtag Team Nintendo. Thanks again for watching, everyone. If you like videos like this and also like video games, like, comment, and subscribe, and expect more videos like this talking about video games and releases and announcements in the future, where hopefully it'll be much more immediate and I won't be so 2000 and late and upload the reaction videos like a week later. Sorry about that. Thanks everyone for watching. Have a great rest of the day.